Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the All Things Gratitude podcast. My name is Nick Dorsey, and today, really fun because everybody knows I'm a sports junkie and played sports my whole life. So, I got somebody else on the show who played college football, was in the NFL, played in the CFL, and he's connected right now to a league called FCS, Fan Controlled Football, which is a really cool concept right now going on, which is live on Twitch. As you can see, and today is their championship game.
Yeah.
So, man, everybody, welcome to the show. Chase Baker. What's up, Chase?
What's going on, Nick? Appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah.
Grateful to be here.
Oh, thanks, man. And I know you're busy, so thank you for getting on. When we first connected and we talked about this, you're like, hey, that's a championship games day, so that might be a good day to talk about our season and everything. So, really quick before we get into fan control football and what it's about, hey, a big thing was you played at Boise State, man, and you want to talk about just the David versus Goliath kind of story with that school and what they've done, and their coach, Chris Peterson, just how, he just took that program to another level, man. And I know you came in the year after one of the biggest, I call it one of the biggest bowl upsets ever because people didn't see it coming. How was it to get recruited during that time with all that excitement going on and the program just going crazy at that time?
Yeah, so I actually tore my ACL my senior year, and so I didn't have a ton of offers that stuck with me. I had my favorites, and I thought I was going to certain schools, but I tore my ACL twice actually. And so the second time, I called up Boise, and they'd already offered, and I let them know. I'm like, hey, I retore it. Like I don't know how that affects things. They're like, it doesn't. And so I'm like, okay, you guys are still rolling me, and I committed once they let me know that they would still rock with me. So committed to Boise, and I knew very little about Boise, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I knew they were a good team in what was then the WAC, but I didn't know them as like the giant beaters that everybody kind of does. So I committed early in that season and was just starting to learn a little bit more about my future team. And so they ended up in the Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma. And so I was watching that from Pizza Hut during high school, and it was just an amazing, experience to see that. I was like, oh, cool, that's going to be my future, college. But I wasn't a college nut. I didn't watch football a ton. So I didn't understand how big that was at the time. Until I got there and until, years have passed where you see like how big of a deal that game was. But it was definitely exciting. Peterson, no doubt one of the greatest to ever do it.
And the crazy thing, that game, I'm telling you what, had two of the best college football plays ever. To tie it, to put it in overtime, and then win the game. So, what an exciting period for you to get in there, and then go and play it on the blue turf. I had old coach of mine played at Idaho. So back in the day, they were big rivals. Yeah. And he was always telling us about, this is with the old turf. So this is when you had to paint the field every year and the turf was horrible. He was saying how ducks and geese, they'd always find dead on the field because they thought it was a lake.
It's a myth.
It's
a myth. Actually,
it's a myth.
The older ones, maybe. No, but I'm pretty sure they've always said it's a myth. They have a wall of like facts about the blue turf, and when that's a myth.
That's all good, man. But
the geese do love to just chill on that field and poop all over it. So
makes it fun, doesn't it?
Yeah, we gotta shoo them off all the time.
Yeah. So then after Boise State, after very good career, you have the chance to go play in the NFL. You have a chance to go play with the Minnesota Vikings, and pretty sure Adrian Peterson was on that team at the time. So did you give him any crap about Boise State?
One time, he got really upset about it, so I never brought it up again. So no, but AP is probably one of the most down to earth. He was a genuinely great dude that I enjoyed having as a teammate.
Awesome. So what was it about the NFL? Just how was it going from college to NFL? Just obviously there's a lot of differences, but just what was it for you? What was like? Was it like, wow, I'm in the NFL now? Or was it like, just business as usual because, I'm at that level of football now?
So the football obviously is insanely fast. It's bigger, stronger, faster. And it becomes very much more business-like. You're taught to be a professional. And there's a certain way of doing things and making sure your body's taken care of and how you handle media and all that good stuff. But yeah, it felt very business-like. It lost a little bit of that, that camaraderie because people are there to take care of the families, man. So you're not hanging out with everybody once practice is over. You got a couple friends, but it wasn't the same as college. College was definitely a unique kind of unifying and awesome experience. NFL was too, just in a different kind of aspect, and it was definitely more business.
I understand that because in college I played rugby, and I know you did too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I went to Central Washington University, so a little tiny school, but we were one of the top rugby teams in the nation when I was there. But we were traveling. We're always in vans. We never flew. We're always in vans. So, like you said, that camaraderie, just hanging out with each other. That's all we did. We just hang out with each other. So those are things I really miss from that type of sports. But I get it going in the NFL. I mean, it's about making the team money. It's about you getting your money. It's about, taking care of your family. So that's what a lot of fans don't get. And they get too emotionally tied to people. And I get it because we're fans, but yeah. So moving on, man, going into that, then, you're doing all your fun stuff. And that all of a sudden FCF comes up, Fan Controlled Football League, which really cool concept on Twitch where the fans almost control the whole league to a degree. And, they got a couple big name players in there. You got Johnny Manziel that people know and Josh Gordon now, which I'm a Seahawk fan, so I just think the NFL screwed Josh Gordon, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
But, dude, I mean, you got some names in there, you got some highlights, going on. Tell everybody about that and how you got into it.
Yeah, so I got into it just being around, again, a former NFL thing. So I was it was called Gridiron Gaming, and the commissioner, one of the co-founders, was out giving a kind of speech about 2 years about the league and what they're setting up. And I just went up to him after. I was like, hey, let me know if you're looking for a D-line coach. And I've just kind of stayed in contact the last few years. And, had him message me about 4 months ago. I got hired probably a month before the season. I was one of the last hires. He's like, you still interested in the job? I'm like, yeah. So jumped on an interview. And, I have some scouting background. I've done some coaching. And then because this is in Twitch, me and my partner, Ian, we have a company called Connected by Fate, and that's what we do. We help athletes get set up on Twitch. We teach them the hardware, the software, and get them monetized quickly. And so it was just a perfect fit, right? And so it was just kind of all the things I love and enjoy and I'm passionate about merged into one. But yeah, being on Twitch and, wanting to help the guys get rolling, it just was a perfect fit.
Awesome. How do you feel the league? I mean, first year, and during a pandemic makes it tough. But how do you think the league's going? How do you think it's being accepted on Twitch and throughout everything else?
Obviously, it's a new league, and when you come watch it, you just have to know it's not traditional 11-man football, right? This has been redesigned kind of for this digital age, and specifically for this Twitch situation. And so, there was, you get a lot of that pushback, that some of those negative comments, but we have exceeded expectations. Our first week, we wanted about 250,000 viewers, and I think we ended up with 400. And this last week, this playoff game, we reached something like 2.2 million.
Nice.
Yeah, so we've been on a steady climb, and people are seeing that there's longevity here, that we have the ability to make this rock. And that's a testament to the guys here, because they've had to buy in. We're in a COVID bubble in a hotel out here in Atlanta, and all we do is go from the hotel to our practice field, to the hotel, to the game, to the arena where we play, and that's it. We don't, so we are in this thing together, and everybody's bought in. We haven't had many issues. We've been in here, as a family, working together for a common goal, and I think we're reaching that, as evident by the numbers and the engagement and, the enjoyment people have found in this league.
Man, that's awesome, man. And you guys, they have actually picked a great time to do it. A little after the Super Bowl, people are still on that high of football.
Yeah.
Bam, right into this. I mean, there's people like me. I'll watch football all year round. I will watch football all year round if it's there. When the XFL and all that other stuff was going on, I didn't care. I watched it because it was football. Yeah. And that's the big thing. And then you're hitting the gamer side of it too. So you're bringing in a whole nother, whole nother realm of people, I guess you would say, who normally aren't watching a ton of football. So you're hitting multiple, they're hitting multiple points. So that's really awesome, man. So what do they think? have they mentioned what's going to go on for the next years? Are you guys going to stay like in one city? Are you going to try to move and bounce around, or have they said anything, or is that something you can't talk about right now?
Yeah, so it was originally supposed to be in Vegas, and once COVID hit, we ended up being situated here in Atlanta. And so after this season, I believe we're trying to bring on new teams. So I think they're trying to expand, whether it's 6 or 8 teams. I'm not sure. We'll see as we go along and they go through, their fundraising situation. But nonetheless, there will be another season. And so the cool thing about us is we're not geographically, tied to a location, right? It's not the San Francisco 49ers. These are teams that the fans decided on, that they're tied to, the owners are influencers. You got guys like Quavo and Richard Sherman and some of these, sports icons, media influencers, just big names, Marshawn Lynch. But yeah, so yeah, exactly. Beast mode. So that's the Beast. He's one of the owner of the Beast, which understandably that's the name they picked. But yeah, so we have the ability to kind of pick this league up and take it wherever we want. Obviously there's some restrictions and we have to have certain things in place, but I do know that Las Vegas was the original place, and we do plan on getting back there. There's even talks of going overseas, whether that's London or some of these other European countries that have the ability to host what we need. We can kind of pick this up and move it where we want to.
That's awesome, man. Vegas would be sweet. Because it's like 4.5 hours for me, so that makes it nice. But
I'd be nervous for the players. They'd get paid and immediately be broke again. So
Chase, that's one thing I've always wondered about. Speaking of that, is having professional teams in Vegas, because there's so much influence there. Yeah. I can understand why for years there was never professional team there, and then it was kind of nice when the Raiders came in, because it's kind of like, well, the first real year is a COVID year, so the influence probably could be knocked down a little bit. But always been interested about that, how that aspect would work, because
I actually have a buddy on the Raiders. I need to reach out and see what the season was like last year, and once it opens up, that'll be the more interesting thing, is to see how guys spend their money.
Yeah, and no offense to your buddy, but the Raiders, I swear they'll be one of the only NFL teams that will consistently sell out every game, because so many road teams will travel to Vegas to go see their team.
Yeah,
so it might be like the Arizona Cardinals. I bash them all the time because half the seats are always the visiting team. It's not them, and it's like, wow, people, come on.
It's a good thing for the town, man.
Yeah, tourists. It is absolutely. So this is awesome, man. What's exciting about the championship game? Do you have any insight that you can give out?
Man. It's been an interesting year because I'm not on a team necessarily. I coach defense, and so it's been really strange. And so I'll go from calling one defense, like what'll happen tonight. It's Glacier Boys versus Wild Aces, and so I'll be helping out with Glacier's Boys defense. And once that we scored, and so for me, I don't want the offense to ever score. But obviously the league is very much set up offensively. It's meant for high scoring. They kind of put us at a disadvantage on defense. And so it's kind of fun because we're always going to be the underdogs. We're always expected to, take that hit. But yeah, so I go from one defense to the other. And so I'm not rooting for a team. I'm rooting for the defense at all times.
Awesome. So, I mean, like I said, you got a couple names in there, household names people know, with Josh Gordon and Johnny Manziel.
We got them out of here. They were on the Zappers. They were on the Zappers.
They're gone.
We almost shut them out last week. Yeah. So
there you go. But how is it? How do the other players who necessarily, some who are just coming right out of college or XFL or CFL, who haven't played with an NFL player before, did you see them adapting them in any way, or are people like that helping them out a lot and everything too, the younger players?
So I will say this about Johnny and and Josh is they came in and Johnny was very open about his intentions here. He was straight up like, I'm not trying to restart my career. He was here for the other guys that are trying to continue their journey. He was there to bring exposure and to help them, get eyeballs. And he did a great job of doing that, and he accomplished his mission, honestly. So, awesome. It wasn't like he was here to restart his career. He was here to bring exposure, and then that's exactly what he did. But what was the question again? I
I was just saying how if Johnny and Josh brought any, if they helped out the younger players and how they did, and you just explained it about Johnny really well. And I know Josh came on kind of late.
Yeah.
But because the NFL thing, I'll leave that one alone with him.
Yeah.
But
we got Sean Oakman though. He'll be playing.
Oh, yeah. Awesome, man. I mean, and I'm glad I hear that about Johnny Manziel, because that dude's got a bad rap in the media. Unfortunately, I love his intensity on the field. I mean, I'm telling you what, it's just awesome. Being a player, you got to have that intensity, but he just showed it a lot. But people don't understand that.
We got into it a bit. D-line quarterbacks were kind of enemies as it is. So we got after a bit, and I'd be yelling, "We're coming, Johnny!" and he'd be like, "Screw you!" But once the game was over, it was back to just chill, cool Johnny. But on the field, there's definitely a different intensity. I think that goes for pretty much everyone, but you saw it in Johnny as well. You weren't sure if he was going to have the same fire, but he still has.
That's awesome.
Competitors will always be competitors. That's just
absolutely
what it is.
Awesome. So when the season's over after tonight and everything, what does Chase have planned for the future? What do you continue to work on, and what do you want to put out to the world so we can try to help you, man, and get you going too?
I'm going to sleep. For about a week, and then we can start talking. No, so like I said, my partner Ian and Afro, they're both Twitch partners, and they've been helping out a lot on the Twitch streaming and the broadcasts that we're putting out. But we go right back into jumping into that. We're going to be helping athletes, get set up and monetize on Twitch. We're going to be with some organizations. We're looking at doing some stuff. Would love to. Right now, we're in talks with the Special Olympics in Texas. So we're trying to get, do something similar where we get to broadcast their practices and their games and create some really cool content around what they do and bring some exposure to that awesome organization. But that's essentially what we're going back to is back to the Twitch, back to helping athletes and gamers get rocking.
What is your purpose on helping the athletes? What are you guys trying to get to? Is it helping them just everyday life? If it's helping them financially, whatever it is, or is it just getting exposure and getting their name out there so they get picked up by an NFL team or something?
No, so with the athletes, it's just building, continuing to build a brand on a cool platform that allows them to monetize. So it's creating revenue streams. Once sports are over, it becomes a pretty dark place. And so, if you're able to build that community on Twitch, you have a place to always go. You can continue that revenue stream. You can kind of build off it. So that there is that portion of it that I do enjoy because, once guys are done with football, it can be pretty dark and lonely, and that transition can be tough. So just finding ways to build community, build revenue streams, and continue fighting. Most athletes love gaming, and so if that's something they're passionate about, I want to help with that.
I think it's awesome we do. A good friend of mine, Marcus Ogden, does a lot of work with NFL players, especially at the Buffalo Bills right now. And I think it's really cool because him and I talked a lot about it. It's kind of what you're talking about. You can make all the money in the world while you play, and you can lose it just as fast.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't know what to do with, then like you say, you put the wrong people in your life, it gets into a dark stream because, everything with CTE and everything just going on just in life. I mean, all of a sudden, when you have money, all of a sudden your long lost cousin is your best friend. All these people come into your life, and it's just love the fact that you're helping people out because people don't realize they're like, oh, they're millionaires, they can figure it out. They're still humans.
Yeah, and most of them are millionaires. Average career is like 3 years, and these days the minimum is a little higher than when I played. I played in 12, 13, 14. But regardless, they're not making millions. They might make $1 million over their 3-year career. But you're also in this mindset and in a, surrounded by people that are living the high life. And so you kind of figure you're right there with them. You're going to the steakhouse every night. You're blowing $1,000 on dinners and stuff. And I struggle with that. I won't lie. That was one of the things that I ate out too much. I enjoyed my trips. I'd never had money. So once I got some of that NFL money, it went faster than I had ever expected. And so, crazy.
Marcus and I talk a lot about is you get a lot of people who, some players that come from poverty who never, single parent, their parents are working 3-4 jobs. They're never out there. And all of a sudden, especially the high end players, bam, they land multi-million-dollar contract right off the bat and they don't know what to do with it because they've never had it before.
Yep.
So they want to have fun, which you understand, but they're not thinking 10 years down the road. So I'm glad you're jumping in and doing the stuff. I love what Marcus does. I know there's a lot of former players who jump in and do those things. So
yeah,
that's
it's
awesome,
interesting.
man.
Yeah, I think it's hard because players probably don't, or they don't think it'll be them or whatever it is. I don't know what the case is, but it's definitely hard to get through guys that are still playing. And once they're done and they truly see how different life can be once you're finished playing, that's where the kind of reality sets in.
Absolutely. And this is nothing against him, but when you're playing at that intense of a level, your ego needs to be high on certain levels. It really does, I mean, and when you have 80,000 people cheering for you, I mean, for some people, that's just the mecca. And it's like when we're kids, you never think you're going to die. Nothing's ever going to happen to me. I'm immortal, so no, bravo for you guys, dude, for doing all that stuff. That's awesome.
And you're spot on. That's been one of the biggest issues we've had with the Connected by Fate and get them on Twitch. Guys think that just because they have a name, they're going to do well, and that's not the case. That we got to help them set their ego aside, help set their pride aside, especially on Twitch, because it's not like Instagram or Twitter where you're asking for a quick heart. Like my stuff, you're asking them to spend hours of their time with you, and so you have to be inviting, engaging, and talk to them, and you can't think that you're some superstar because they don't care. And especially being that you're on a game as athletes, they get on the game and they're just locked in playing the game, but nobody cares about your game skills, man. You're not that good at the game. You're not a pro gamer, so they have to be engaging. They have to bring them into their life. They have to talk to them. And they have to kind of drop that wall of I'm a pro athlete. They're now just a dude hanging out with their friends on Twitch.
Yeah, seriously, after somebody retires, how many athletes actually can live off their name for the rest of their life?
Yeah, not many. Very, very, very few.
Michael Jordan, there's one.
Right.
I mean, there's like you said, there's very few. You could be an all NFL player, all pro. You can even make it the Hall of Fame. Look how many Hall of Famers can't live off their name.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm glad you guys are jumping in early with them and everything, and hopefully it's getting through to majority of them because it's life. Life sucks after football, probably. So for some people,
it's a transition. It can't, you got to find. It's a big part of your life, and when it's gone, you got to find stuff to kind of fill that void. So,
well, it's because it's so structured for you.
Yep.
Everything's so structured. Yeah,
exactly. You lose your teammates, you lose your strength coach, you lose your nutritionist. Your schedule. You're scheduled from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. in the afternoon. That's gone. Now you're on your own, and so the whole structure falls apart. And most of the guys have never had to kind of put that stuff together and create their own. So you're spot on with all this stuff.
Awesome, man. Good to know. I know something maybe, but so awesome. So way back in the day, man, when you were just starting to play football, little kid and everything. When did you know? I'm like, okay, I got a shot at college. This is it. Oh man, your people around you knew it or something. There's always something. There's always a click.
Yeah,
everything kind of makes
sense.
I
don't know. It was pretty young, and again, I'm not trying to get in the ego, but. I remember knowing pretty quickly just from like probably first, second grade, even like I was just always, and so I moved a lot, right? I was in a different school almost every year. And so every year I was in a different school, just starting out, but it didn't matter where I went. I knew I was always like the fastest, the strongest, the quickest. And so, that was kind of reaffirming to the idea that, I'm a pretty dang good athlete. And then, as I got older, I remember talking to my grandma, and my grandma was like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "I think I'm going to go play in the NFL." And so, and she's like, "That's great. Let's have a backup plan." But no, so I think that was just kind of always something that I felt I could do. And then, once college came around, I had a lot of injuries. And so as the injuries piled up, that was what kind of put, a little doubt in my mind. And that definitely hurt going forward. But no, I kind of always knew I had the ability to. I wish I could have stuck around a little longer, but it is what it is.
Is higher level? Oh, I won't say higher level. That's a bad thing to say, but coaching in your future, more coaching like college level, NFL level, is that something you want to do? Or are you really passionate on what you got going right now?
I'm definitely open to things. That said, the reason this was so appealing was because of its tie to the gaming and Twitch side of things. And And so, I've coached at high school. I've coached at my old high school. I coached at a high school in Dallas. I do stuff for the Cowboys youth programs. So I've enjoyed coaching, and I enjoy coaching at a higher level. I will say that I enjoy having guys that can take, the details of the position and put it into play. And so, I won't say I won't say never, but it have to be a right situation, because this is pretty cool to me. I enjoy this.
That's awesome. Speaking about that coaching, who are some of your biggest, most influential coaches you had? I know we talked about Chris Peterson a little bit months ago, when we first met, but I mean, you got Chris Peterson. Do you have another one that sticks out from college and one that sticks out from the NFL? That's just like, bam.
So from high school is definitely so I'll start at high school, but so Adams, Coach Adams out at Rockland High School. He's now the head coach, Jason Adams. And so he was a guy that, he ran our conditioning programs. He always pushed me. And then, I tore my ACL, and he used to bring me to his house, and he'd take me through pool workouts every day, and just was on my, making sure I understood that, my career wasn't over, and that was huge to me. So he helped on and off the field just as much. Going to college, I'm definitely going with PK, Pete Kwiatkowski. He was my D-line coach, and then he was the D coordinator over at Washington, and now he's the D coordinator at Texas. He just moved over to Texas this year, so I might have to go watch some games because I'm out in Dallas, make that trip up. But he kind of he was the first coach that was a little different, and I kind of have even modeled my coaching after him, because I've always been a quiet guy. I'm not a big yeller. I'm not a screamer. I'm pretty mild mannered. And most D-line coaches aren't like that, so to see him be able to effectively communicate with the guys and get across what he wanted to, and that as I moved on to coaching, it was like, if he can do it, I can, because that was always my worry about coaching, is I'm not a yeller. I'm not an authoritarian type guy. And so, he showed me that you can coach within your personality, that you don't have to, freak out and be this, they always say the defensive line has to bring the energy. Well, I'm not the most jump around and raw hog kind of dude. So, but regardless, he was also just great on the personal side as well. And so Pete Kwiatkowski, great dude.
Awesome.
Pro level. Let me go through each level. And so, pro level, I had some great coaches as well. But right now, my defensive line coach, man, I don't even know why I'm blanking on his name, because Coach Daly. He's moved around a little bit as well, but he's the D-line coach over with the Kansas City Chiefs. And as I kind of moved into this spot, I reached out to him and was just like, can I get some advice on some of the drills that, the first thing I did when I got with FCF was we went and ran a combine. And so I was just like, what do you look for when you go to these combines? What are some drills that help you bring that out of the athletes? And so he just sat with me and walked me through some of the stuff I should look for, and some of, what we did together and how he still uses that. And, so it was just great to have all the things, from high school to college. You kind of bring all those experiences together as you move forward with this FCF stuff.
Awesome, man. Because I know my buddy Marcus, he always talks about Jack Del Rio. Just how great of a guy he was coaching. He said person. That's the biggest thing, in person. And when you get to the NFL, like you said, it's X's and O's, but most of you know the X's and O's by then. Now it's, growing young men, into human, into the real world, kind of thing. So that's what he said was great about him. They'd always talk about life. Life,
that was probably more Chris Peterson for me. I think, really. So that happened in the college area, more so than professional for me. But Coach Pete was about growing men. Exactly what you said. I don't know. I can't say I learned anything about football from Coach Peterson, but I learned a shit ton about life.
Yeah. And that's one thing, I lived in Washington for a while. So when he took the job over there, I was excited because I knew what he did at Boise State. But man, he turned around a program fast. I mean, Washington was struggling. All of a sudden, they're in the college playoff. They're always in New Year's Six bowl games. And, you just don't do that off X's and O's. I mean, you really have to connect with players. You know what coaching is. Yeah. It's not always about the X and O's. Like you said, it's not about yelling or anything. It's about leadership. And if people respect you, they'll go that extra mile for you.
Definitely.
That's the huge thing.
Yep. And so, yeah, no, it didn't surprise any of us that know Coach Pete at all. He's a culture builder. He knows how to get guys to buy in. And like you said, there's respect. I think everybody, as soon as he does things right, he doesn't allow shortcuts. He doesn't allow, he's about integrity. So he doesn't allow you to flirt those lines. Like there's very firm, solid lines of don't cross this line or there's going to be issues. And so they know. And then on top of it, he's just a great person that's trying to help you. So,
yeah. And he's a small little dude too. Seeing some of the linemen stand next to him, like, wow.
Yeah, man. He was a college quarterback. He played UC Davis. He was a QB out there. Yeah. So, but yeah, just great dude.
That's awesome, man. It's so awesome along each way. Like, I played a little bit in college, and rugby was my big thing, but each step of the way, I remember the coaches who just influenced me and who are just there. And when their naysayers are there, they're like, don't listen to them. You got the talent. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it and just pushing you on. And those are the people who make you who you are today. And, and that's one thing. That's why I like, being in positions I am, especially with my work life. I love to be able to help people because people help me. Yeah. And that's what you're doing right now. You're helping people because people helped you. So you're giving back, man. So I just kudos to that. That's just awesome. You can go off, be doing your own thing without having to help people. And you probably be very successful, but doing what you love, helping people and making sure they can become successful, man, that takes a lot from somebody, man. And I give you big props for that.
I appreciate that, Nick. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, and we barely know each other. So look at that. Hey. So, hey. So awesome. So, man, excited about tonight, man. Working what time's the game tonight so people can catch it if they haven't seen it before.
Oh man, I should know this, right? But I know my schedule. I know I leave at 5:30, but if we're going by past nights, it's 8 p.m. Eastern. It's on twitch.tv/FCF. If you just type in FCF into Twitch, we'll also be on that front carousel. So it's pretty easy to find us once the game starts. But yeah, we got a ton of cool hosts that'll be coming on, and yeah, we got a championship game. The guys are playing for. The guys are playing for the title, a little extra cash in their pocket, which is huge for them. So, you should expect a great game. And then don't expect typical 11-man football. We're 7-on-7, but we still get after it, and it's pretty awesome.
So, got any insight on any defensive players? Who's really standing out in the league this year? Maybe that's a better question. Who is just taking advantage of this, and
so obviously – I'm going to stick on the D line, but So if I'm looking at D line, I got guys like I could literally name off half the roster because I really think I have the best group of guys, in the league. But Owen Obasui, he got an NFL tryout, but he was a nose tackle when he played with the Cardinals. He was actually out with the Cardinals out there. So. And he's dropped some weight, and he's more of like a DN. He's quick, he's fast off the ball, and he's been very dominant throughout the season. You got guys like Kyle Kitchens. He's been locked up. So what's unique is so we have 3 O-line. One of them could be a tight end. Both could be tight ends on like the guard position, and they can release for a pass. And if they do that, because we got 3 O-linemen, 3 D linemen. They don't want that D lineman just coming free and destroying the quarterback. So the D lineman, the DN has to cover the tight end on a route. And so Kyle Kitchens has been locked down. I didn't expect a DN to be able to run with a tight end, and he hasn't. He runs with anybody. People don't score on him. So that's been awesome to see. You got James Lee. He's a guy from Western New Mexico. Long, strong, very good with his hands, great pass rusher. But yeah, I got guys across the board that, I have no problem recommending for NFL camps.
That's huge, having a DN who can cover tight end. That changes everything. They can be a stand-up land. They can play a little outside linebacker, then depending on what defense they're in. Oh man, that's huge. That's a big development for him. That's going to make a big future there.
Yeah, I hope so. And so whether it's NFL, I see it definitely. He could be a starter in the CFL for sure. Obviously, I hope he gets an NFL chance. But just a great player. He's a competitor too, man. He hates to lose. He won we've had a couple different competitions. He won the chess competition. We had a chess tournament. He won that. We had a Madden tournament. He won that. The man just is a winner and is a competitor. So it's been fun.
Do you guys, do you get a lot of scouts and everything right now showing interest in this and coming down and watching you guys, or do they show up, or do they have to call you right now and virtually come in? How are they having that?
We're in the COVID bubble, so nobody gets to come or go. So they get to watch it on Twitch, and we know that a number of them have. And then we're having a combine the day after the season.
Awesome.
Because John Jenkins is a longtime coach, our head coach, and he knows a lot of people and a lot of scouts. And so during the combines and stuff, as we were bringing guys in to start the season, we had guys like Wade Phillips and scouts from teams across the country coming in to check it out. So definitely we have eyes on us, and we have some talent that'll go to the next level for sure.
That's good, man. That means you're succeeding if you're actually getting the talent scouts in and everything. So that's awesome. And just adds another layer, because the NFL, I mean, it's nothing like Major League Baseball or anything. There's no farm system. Yeah. So you almost need one there for people. You really do.
It's called NCAA.
Yeah. That's a different in its story in itself. I mean, love college football, but yeah. You need to get paid. But anyways, different story. So you went up to the CFL for a little bit. Tell me how that difference was, man. I mean, 10 fields longer, wider, 3 downs. I mean, just your mentality is totally different on how you play.
You're running a lot more. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all good, man. Hey, it's all good, man.
You just as a D lineman, it's tough. So you got the yard off the ball that kind of tweaks with things. The longer field, so you're running a lot more, getting a little more exhausted. So it was tough to go up there when I was 315 and expect it. Yeah. So you kind of got to lose a little weight if you're going to go play up there. So I showed up at 315, and I was coming off my back injury. And so I got out there and then kind of went through the camp and thought I was one of the better, D linemen out there. But because of the CFL, the way the rules work, you have to have a certain amount of Canadians. My contract was going to be, a large contract by CFL standards, and so they ended up letting me go with between the money and the injuries and the Canadian kind of ratio. So but I went up and did a training camp, and I love my teammates out there, man. I really did. I still keep in contact with a number of those guys. So no issues there, but wish I could have played a full season and gotten through it. But after that, I immediately came back, and the Patriots agreed to bring me in, and I crushed my workout with the Patriots and then failed my physical there as well. And that was kind of when I knew I was done, was after, my third failed physical.
That's crazy, because you can crush your workout, but you fail the physical. You think about it, sometimes it doesn't make sense. I'm like, how can you do a workout? But whatever, NFL has their crazy ways of doing things. So
it's the way it goes. And so the doc that was on the doctor. I went in and did really well. Like I said, killed the workout. And then they're like, okay, we're bringing you in. And so they gave me the playbook, and I was up to like 2-3 a.m. studying it, getting ready for the 8 a.m. practice the next morning. And woke up and was getting ready, and the doctor came over, and they're like, sorry, you failed your physical. And like an hour later, I was on the flight back home. And so I went from like, yes, I made the Patriots team to you're going back home. I was like,
that's just nuts, because I remember San Diego failed Drew Brees' physical, and then it turned out okay.
Yeah, he did all right.
So he turned out all right. So crazy, man. So hey, man, I know you're tired, man. I know it's been a long season, but I know you're gonna be hyped for tonight.
I gotta get ready. I gotta get ready.
Get ready, man. So hey, man, I know you're on LinkedIn. Let people know where they can find you, man, and they can figure out, what Chase Baker's all about.
Oh man, so yeah, LinkedIn's probably my favorite place, honestly. I enjoy, I think there's some more transparency on LinkedIn than most socials, but Instagram, Twitter, Chase Baker 91, Jackie Kellogg. No, I thought you were gonna say Joe Kellogg. I do not know Jackie Kellogg. But yeah, Chase Baker 91. Twitch, I just started a brand new Twitch channel that revolves around the D-line, and so that's FCFDL. But yeah, man, reach out on LinkedIn is probably the best way if you just want to say what's up, talk business. I'm there.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, he's awesome, man. The first time I met him, man, he reached right out to me, and we had a nice conversation that morning. So, I mean, really cool dude, man. I'm glad to have you on the show, guys. Up in that corner, you can find me on LinkedIn, find me on YouTube. Let's just go that Anchor, all the podcasts. Come find the podcast. Only thing I'm not on is Twitch, pretty much. Sorry.
No,
I'm not a gamer, so that just doesn't fall into my world.
If you want to become one, let me know. I got you.
I'll give you a call.
All right.
I do. So, hey, man, it was a pleasure having you on the show, man. I want to get you back on when, the season's over with and we can talk about a lot more things, man. And just, hey, love to stay in contact with you, brother. I mean, just great going on here. And hey, everybody, I just want to say, stay safe out there, man. Have fun. Good luck tonight, Chase, with everything. Hey, everybody, thanks for coming in live here on Saturday morning. And I really appreciate it. Afternoon for some people. And hey, everybody, have a great weekend. Talk to y'all later.
Thanks for having me, Nick. Twitch.tv